under agreement for 105. The value of the house is 173. So, and that's the one that's open to a seller finance.
Oh,
But
nice.
so also, so if I can't find a retail buyer, I can try to also bring a creative buyer. But if I did find a retail, because it does need new carpet, it does need some kitchen bath updating, but it's not a bad looking house for what the shape it's in. It could be like a good buy and hold for a landlord, and it's cheap enough to do it too. Um, so I just didn't know if I went to a retailer, like, do I just say like, hey, if they have any interest in it, why don't you let me know what the offers are? I'll work with them on the price, or do I kind of mention a price we're looking at?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Good question. Man, I'm amazed. I'm impressed that everybody here is just coming up and their game is it's like exponential growth. And
You got a lot of
getting
new people on here
yeah, and
throughout during the week that I haven't seen before. So
yeah, and
it's
getting
all good.
deals and making money. Somebody just posted in the VIP chat room that they just got a deal under contract yesterday and just assigned it away today for $18,000. Closes next week at the title
Cool.
company. Wow. I mean, man, that kind of money, life changing. You know.
All right. How do I
So,
get rid of this shared thing?
yeah, there you go.
There we go. All
I
right.
did it
Thank
for you.
God you're here. Ah! All right. So kicking it off, Robert,
Yes, sir.
Nicholas,
Yo,
Justin, Antonio, Ed Glasky, the man from down South Florida with went for the meeting. I still got to hear about that meeting, man. So look, we're gonna bring deals to the table. What do we got?
so I've got that one where, like I was saying, it's 105. I've got under agreement. The value is 173. It's on an option. This one's open to any creative terms, mainly seller finance. I've got kind of some numbers that he mentioned, and also is kind of open to lease purchase, but not as much. But I really want to go the retail route on this one. Um, and if I do that, I guess what my question is because I did put in my agreements, what are the two things that I've done is in my option agreement, I put that the memorandum might be needed to be signed if need be. Put that in there, and then I also sent him like a kind of an IANADI seller assist deal, um, and I had him sign that as well.
Did
So
you do you have any partners on this thing, or is it all you?
now it's on me.
All right. Now, what is it? Is it just dirt? Is it a house? What is it?
No, it's a it's a single family home, 4 bed, 2 bath, twenty
Now,
six
let's
hundred
write
square
this
feet,
down. All right. 4 bed, 2 bath,
twenty
single
six.
family, single
Yeah,
family house. What do they want for it?
I got it for 105.
105. What's the real value?
The value of it as it sits is 173. That's without doing anything to it.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So what I want to do is go the retail route and bring in retail buyer for it, and I could have that 40-50,000 spread on it. But my question is when you do something like that, when you go to a realtor, are you mentioning like, hey, I'm asking 150 or whatever they come in with, or it's like, if you have any qualified buyers who would be interested in this property, let me know what the offers are and I'll be happy to work with them?
Who says you need a broker?
Nobody.
When you offer terms, if you're going to do something that I would show you to do, if you offer terms, you're going after a big pool of buyers that realtors don't go after. You're going to look for somebody that's a penalty box buyer, and you're going to put them into a situation where they've got cash, they want to put it into the deal, and you're going to sit back and you're going to be the bank. You bring in private money up front because you can show this is a great deal. It's a $105,000 purchase, and you can flip it for 173. You might be, if the real number is at 173, you probably get 185 or 189 for this thing. All right.
Okay.
So now you bring in your private money buyer. If the purchase price on a house is 105, you bring in 110 or 112, something like that. Let's look at something there. Let's say you bring in 115 and it's 17, what do you say it was 173?
Right.
Okay, so he's in it for 66 cents on a dollar. So he's in pretty good shape. Give him 8% interest on his money. Do an interest only deal. If you're going to stay in this long term and arbitrage this deal where you're going to collect interest, where you're going to collect money over and above, you're going to collect money long term over and above the $105,000 you bought it for, and you're going to be collecting up to the 175, 180, 185, buddy, this is a sick deal maker.
Okay.
Want me to run the money? You want me to run the numbers for you?
Sure.
All right, so let's do this. Let's take a piece of paper
Yeah,
out of
that
the
sounds
bag.
exciting. Let's do
Okay,
that.
here we go.
Run
All right,
them
Justin, don't get so excited there now.
Run them numbers. Run them
Starting
numbers.
number is
I gotta
$105,000.
run them numbers. Spin the
We're
wheel.
gonna offer this deal to a private lender. All right, 105,000. Say you give them a 5-year deal and 8% interest
Okay.
only. So in 5 years, his whole $105,000 balloons. All right, there's plenty of equity on top of this thing. So we take $105,000 times a big. What do we say? We're gonna give him 8%.
Steve, can you do the drawing board
Whiteboard.
No, I don't have one.
on Zoom?
I don't know. What Zoom? I don't even know where the hell I am. What are you talking? You guys are the high tech guys. You know, I got
Steve,
shoes home older than you.
It's easy, man. You go to the green button down there that says share screen, and then it's like option 3 is
We teach you.
whiteboard.
We
Yeah,
teach you,
it's a
Steve.
whiteboard.
Holy
you.
cow!
You
We
know,
help you,
Steve.
Steve. There we
It's-
go.
it's reciprocal.
Ooh.
Oh,
There you
look
go.
at that.
Okay. And there's a
All
text
right.
there's a text thing too if you want to type like I do.
Clear. All drawings.
And then down there in the bottom right hand corner, if you want a new clean sheet, there's a little plus button down there. You could get a new clean
Okay,
sheet.
so let's
There you go.
see if I can. I don't know. We're gonna try this anyway.
Look at that, man. He picked it up like a kid genius.
Shut up! You're embarrassing me. All right, I don't even know where the hell to go here. Draw, stamp. I guess we're gonna. Can we just? I can put text in here, right? Okay. So
Awesome.
we're gonna buy the house for $105,000. Okay, and now we're gonna offer. We're gonna offer this to a private lender, and our terms are gonna be. We're gonna offer terms of. I don't think we got to pay the whole 8. We probably pay 7%. Let's go all. Let's appeal to his greed gland. Let's say it's 8% interest for 60 months, and it's interest only. And we'll leave it like that. So what's $105,000 times 8%? Times 8% is 8,400 divided by 12. So that's $700 a month. $700 a month. Okay, we all got that, right?
Right.
So let's make believe for a minute that we just got handed $105,000, and now we just bought this house that's worth 100 and what do you say, 175,000?
Yeah, 173. Yeah.
175, 170. Let's just say it's 175,000. Keep the numbers simple. All right. So now, what are we going to do with this house? Now, we could list it with a broker. We could do a lot of things. First thing I would do is I wouldn't list it with a broker. I'd just offer it as a payment deal. And I'd say I've got a house for $179,900. And the terms are going to be 20% down. Hang on, boys. It's kind of dark in this room. 20% down. So we're going to say 180. 180. Yeah, that's right. So they're going to bring in around $36,000. And that goes to the Hip National Bank, right? Nicholas.
Right.
Nod your
Yeah.
head yes.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. This is if I'm doing that. Yeah.
Okay, so we got $36,000 going to come in the door as a down payment. We're talking about selling this thing. We're not talking about doing a lease option. We're selling this thing, and we
Right.
bought it. We're not optioning anything. All right. So now you want to be the bank. So now you're going to carry. Now you got $179,000, $36,000 down. I get 179. We're going to put $36,000 down, or whatever number you want. This thing's got a horrible $36,000 down. Leaves me 143 times 4%. I get 148. Say we're going to finance 149,000. I get 4% for legal, just getting started fees, placement fees, whatever. That includes my attorney, includes the RMLO. I include everything in it except for if I've got to go and get surveys done. That's on them, or which we shouldn't have to do because I'm the bank. I'm not going to require a survey. And if they need anything having to do, they're going to need to escrow their insurance. So that's on them. I don't do that. All right. Now we're talking about on the retail side, right? Look
Right.
at this. Okay. So we got this so far. So let's pick a term. All right. We know in 5 years this is going to balloon. Now you could do the same thing with the customer. I don't do that, but you could say, I'm going to balloon this payment out in 5 years. Let's just see what you do. Now you're going to get your you're going to finance 148 finance $148,720. Okay. So let's give payments on that. Let's see, for 360 months, and let's write the interest rate at, pick a number, 8%.
8% is fine with me.
8%.
See what everybody wants to know, probably, if you're like me, is why 8%? Is that an arbitrary number, or
You're
when the
trying
crime
to get,
rate goes up?
you want to, okay, here's when you build one of these, you want to come in with your end number that's going to be underneath whatever rent is. So if this house rents for, say, $2,000 a month, and my mortgage payment all in with my taxes, insurance, the whole shebang is just under that, I'm good. If I'm 25% over that, there's no edge. Why would you want to buy it? So we can play with the numbers. We're picking 8% right now as an arbitrary number. I'll show you 2 deals that I just finished, and one I'm in the middle of doing right now. And I'll show you the numbers on that. Most, depending on how much money you're talking about. If it's under 100 or under $110,000, I normally get 10% interest. Once you start walking that number up, the numbers get a little bit obscure, and they can knock you right out of the box, because as properties get more and more expensive, depending on a lot of areas, the rents aren't keeping up.
Right.
So you got to be careful with that. You don't want to set this thing up so you're so far out of the market. All right.
Right.
So let's
right.
finance 148,720. 148. Man, it's 148,720 is our principal. 8%.
If you guys have questions along the way,
months, compute the payment. So we're at
feel free.
$1,012. $1,012.12 is our payment. PAYMENT. All right. So now we're at $1,012, and we're not doing anything. We're gonna assume inside you're gonna have to escrow if you're gonna keep this deal in house. You're gonna escrow for taxes and insurance. That's the law. You got to do it. You're gonna do this deal through an RMLO. That's where your 4%'s coming in the door. You're charging the guy up front. You can do that as a private lender. It's fine. No problem. You're doing seller financing because you're the seller and you own the property. So you're fine. Don't let anybody tell you can't do this. They're full of shit. All right. Now, where are we going with the rest of this here? So let's look at what we got going out the doorway. We got $700 a month in interest only going out to our money guy for $105,000.
Nice.
Right?
Okay. Yeah.
We've got $36,000 on this deal that we put in our pocket. We're not talking about you putting any money down, 105. You're going to have some closing costs in that. I would suggest you don't borrow 105, maybe borrow 110 or 112 and cover it all. And if you were buying a house that needed more work, you got to back the number. You got to wind up renegotiating your deal. I don't want to put any lenders in a deal normally that I'm really more than 60%. This is going to come out to around 66, but we're still good. All right. So we're at 179.9, 20% down. That's our new sale price, by the way, right? 20% down. We're getting a hefty down payment from a buyer that can't get a financing. He's self-employed. He's got issues, whatever, but he's got plenty of cash. Plenty of people around like that right now. Loads of them, right? Okay, from the buyer. So we're gonna find he's financing 148,720, right? And that's his payment right now is 1,012.12. That does not include taxes and insurance. All right, so let's see. So what happens here? We're 5 years down the road. You still owe 105, 60 months. Okay, you owe. You still owe $105,000, right? You got that because it was a balloon up front, right?
Right.
So now where are we at as far as with our friend here with the 179? Where is he? So let's see. We're 60 months down the road. Compute the future value. And he still owes 147,202. 147,202. 147,202 is owed to you from the buyer. Now, he owes you 147,202. So let's look at this number. Let's write this again. 147,202. That's the principal balance payoff. Okay. So he owes you this, plus he's already paid you 1012 times 60 months, $60,720. Plus, he gave you $36,000 down, right?
Yeah.
Well, it seems like an awful lot of numbers on here, don't you? Right?
Yeah.
So what's all this come to? So let's see. $36,000 and 60,720 and 147,000. Shit. 147,202, 60,720 and 36,000, 243,922.
Wow.
$243,922. Now that's on you doing this deal. Now you paid the 243, you take out the 105, 243K minus the 105K. What do you got left? Come
I
on.
don't know. A hell lot of money though.
243, 105. You only made $138,000 on this deal. I don't know how
Damn.
you sleep at night, man.
Wow.
That's why you walk into the banks and they all have the gold chandeliers and all the marble. That's how they do it, man. This is arbitrage. You're borrowing money. You're borrowing somebody else's money to make money with. When you understand that you can do this, sky's the limit.
Yeah.
Now you're gonna go back to your private lender a year from now, 5 years from now, whatever. Our deal was 5 years. This will never go out 5 years. But let's just say it did. All right. Went out 5 years, and you're gonna go back and you're gonna hand this guy. You're already handing him $700 a month in cash flow. You're giving this guy $700 a month, right? And you got $105,000 you're going to hand him back. Not too bad.
Right.
Not too bad. Did we figure the $700 a month in this? 105,000. There's so many numbers on the screen. I don't do stretch and spread out numbers like this usually, but 147. I don't know, whatever. You're making a lot of money on this thing. You're making an obscene amount of money on this thing.
So Steve, who's our private lender?
Whoever you want it to be. Could be you, could be somebody else. Could be
Okay.
somebody that's just got money sitting in a 401k or an IRA.
Okay.
Just the money's just laying there.
Yeah, that's that. In order for me to do that, I gotta find me one of them.
There's loads of them. And you don't approach them like you want to borrow money. Say, you know what? I'm in the real estate business. I've got opportunities up to wazoo. I'm helping a lot of people. If you happen to know somebody that wants to make 7-8% on their money right now, with a huge amount of equity on top of their balance for security, let me know.
Right.
What? Because you never, you go to Wall Street and you spend $1 and you buy a stock for $1, and 2 weeks later, 20% has a 20% fallout. Now you're down to 80. Now you're down to 80. If 20% of this market falls on your investor, he's still got that reserve on top of his. He's only borrowing at 60 or 66%. When you bought that dollar's worth of stock on Wall Street, you bought it at 100%. That's legalized gambling. I don't give a shit what anybody says.
Well,
All right.
well, let's just say in this case, so I did obviously if I want to make the most, this would probably be my number one option. If in the event that I have one, if I'm doing an assignment on this situation, if you were to go look for retail buyer, in this case, if you were me, what would you tell the realtor and say, like, I have this property. If you have anybody who's approved, who's looking in this area that's not on the MLS, let me know and I'll work with them on the price. I mean, I've heard I-90 say that. I don't know if that's, that's where it comes down to it, because if they say, well, we've got someone approved for that, 140, or we'll take it for 130 is the offer, then obviously I just created the 30 spread or whatever the difference is, right?
If you want to go into the wonderful world of retail, then you're in retail. If you're looking for all the money, ask all the money. You're not going to get it if you don't ask for it. You can always go down. You can't go up. So if this were my property and I put it on the market and you wanted to roll it fast, you're not going to roll anything fast. I mean, I don't know how fast anybody's closing. I mean, all around the country right now, but it's insane as far as getting a deal through and getting it closed time wise. But I wouldn't discount anything. If you know that this is worth the 175, why wouldn't you be entitled to the whole 175 or 170 or 168? Tell the broker, listen, I would, if I wanted a lot of fire into somebody's butt. And what's the average? What do brokers make over there in this area?
Oh, I have no idea. I don't know.
Well, let's say they make, I don't know, 6%. All right. You tell them, I'll give you 8%. I'll give you 2 points more for if you can bring me a full price offer in the first 14 days it's listed. A full price or better offer, approved offer. We're ready to rock and roll. I'll give you 8%. Shit, what's the difference? You're making a boatload of money. Now You're not financing it, but you're appealing to that broker's sense of greed.
Right.
But when I list, if I go into an area that I'm not really all that sure about, and I'm going to list something, I start digging for the highest volume seller that I can find. And if I know it's out of a particular agency, but I can't find the name, I just pick up the phone and I call a lady on the front. Say, listen, my wife was down there 2 weeks ago talking to somebody, and everybody said he was the top seller in your office. What's this person's name? And they'll tell you. And there you go.
I like that.
They'll tell you. Yeah, it's great. So yeah, I mean, if you want to go the long route around, I like cash flow, man. I like mailbox money. Okay, so 20 years ago, I might have chased that fast nickel, man. So I don't know, but
I'd love to do the.
You set up 10 of those, a dozen of those. You do one of those a month on top of other stuff that you're doing. That'll change your life, man. You got $12,000, $15,000, $20,000 in cash flow coming in a month, and you don't need to do anything for it. It just shows up in your mailbox, and I don't even show up in my mailbox, man. I tell them to ACH them to my bank, so I don't even see the damn things. I look, more money. Isn't that great?
Yeah, I guess what I need to do, because I've got 90 days on this one, so on the option.
And you know what? When I do these deals, I buy the houses. I don't lease option them usually. I want to go in. I want to be the shark. That you'll see a deal I'm going to show you in a little while, where if I go in and I make an offer and the guy accepts it, I'm like, what the hell? Everybody wonders that I pay too much, So, but if I don't walk out of this person's house and my stomach's upset and I'm ready to hurl, then I'm all right. I know I did it, and I'll go back and we'll go back and forth. But the thing is, when I'm working with private money, I can, like one deal I'll show you. We wrapped this deal up on a Monday. I closed it on Thursday or Friday that same week.
Wow.
Show me a bank you're going to do that with. I've done deals where I was in contract and the bank was playing games and they wanted the realtor and they had somebody else to buy it and they were going to sell me out from under. And the guy walked away from the closing table. Now this deal's done. Title work is done. The bank calls me, the broker calls me and say, how much you want to pay for this house? I says, I'm in contract on it. You got the numbers. Oh, they can't sell it for that. So call me when you can. Well, we're ready to go. I said, well, how quick can you get the money here? I says, if you decide you get up off your behind, you know what you're doing in 20 minutes, the money will be there in 30. We closed that day.
Wow.
That was a deal, man. That was GMAC Mortgage. Back in the day, 10 years ago, they had no idea what they were doing. No idea at all. They should have stuck with cars. They should have never gotten involved with houses. Oh, Lord. Yeah.
So, hey, Nick, quick question for you.
Yeah.
On the option, what does that look like? What's the difference between that and the lease option or other? How did you put that on an option?
And mine is it's an option to purchase that I have, and I'm not tied into one strategy or the other. So in this case, I had it way below market value. So I knew that I could either bring a retail buyer and he was open to terms. So I've got 3 different ways to come about bringing a buyer to him. So I put that on there that everything was kind of contingent on, on funders and the different types of funding I'll use, whether it be private money, bank loans, traditional financing, creative solutions. I put all that in there and kind of disclosed everything to it. And he really liked all of it because at the end of the day, it's a win-win for him. Like wasn't that hard for me to kind of get him to, he didn't fight on the agreement.
It's not an exclusive, right? He's open to.
Yeah, he's open to any strategies, any ways, as long as it gets sold, that he's open to it. So I'm just bringing him whatever. So if there's a cash offer that comes in, because if I've got it for 105, it's going to bring cash for 110. If I wanted to let it go for 110, I could. But at least in this case, I have different. What my intention is going to be is do different marketing to it. Bring in offers, open to creative, open to cash. Just bring in offers, and then I'm just going to take the best one that comes in. Especially if I can't go the private money route that Steve is showing, that's probably what I'm going to do. And because I do also have another one like this, Steve. I was like using that option like crazy last week. I have another one that it's 116. The value of it is 145. That one is in phenomenal shape, and they're just letting it go because the 2 brothers don't live in that the same state anymore.
And they're state sale?
No. It could be. Their father is in hospice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it will be real fast.
Yeah. So they're talking about they want to move it pretty quick and that they don't want to hold on to it, but they're like, we could take any cash offers. So on that one, it's like it's a bread and butter, 2-bed, a 3-bed, 2-bath house, about 2,000 square feet. They did all the work already on it. It's just
you got it under contract?
Mm-hmm. Got it this afternoon.
Good man. Ring the bell. Bing, 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 bing. Come on. Justin, where the hell are you? Ring that damn bell, brother.
So on that one, I'll probably go the retail route because they didn't want any creative deals. They didn't want seller financing, lease options. They didn't want any of that. So they were like, we want just a cash buyout. And I'm like, well, obviously I could probably bring a retail person and make a minimum of 5, but I don't see why I couldn't make 10 or 20 on this one.
If you don't ask, you're not going to get it.
Sorry.
Right.
You
Right.
always go down. You can't go up. So, yeah, man.
Okay.
Good
Yeah.
deal. Good man.
Thanks, dude.
That sounds good. Anybody got a deal here they want to talk about? Anybody else? Otherwise, I'll show you one that I was working on. I got challenged today. Oh, bring some of your deals to the table. All right. All right. I got to go back here and I'll run it on. Let me share the screen. I'm going to show you. Where the hell did I put it? Let's see. Screen, Zoom. How do I get to? I don't want to go to WordPad. How do I get to my computer?
Just hit the green button, share screen, and then there should be a box that says share screen, and you have to click that again, and then
Phone screen.
Select whatever you want to share.
Yep, there you go, right there. You got it.
All right, I still got to get to. All right, let's see. Let's see if I can get to this.
We're looking at scheduling made easy, and then Gary and Linda.
There we go. Let's go to Mr. Shore's house over here. I finished this one.
Sure.
Mr. Shore. This was a house that I wound up doing in March of this year up in Alabama. All right. Mr. Shore and I have been talking about this house for a while. I put a little bit of a history on here. He owned the house probably for closer to 35 years. He had no mortgage on it, and all he wanted to do was a cash deal. This guy didn't want to, he didn't understand financing. He didn't want to talk about it. And frankly, the agent he was using was a blooming idiot. Every time I sent an offer up there, I had to do a webinar for crying out loud. So it was insane. So by the time we wound up putting some, I don't know, the rubber to the road, as they say, it was over 150 days listed on the MLS. And this was $140,000. It was worth 140 grand. He had it listed for 140 grand. But the house needed ARV was 140,000. It needed about $25,000 in updates if I was a retail person, retail going in and doing it. So I made several offers through this broker, and I didn't get anywhere. So finally, this broker calls me, and she says, "Oh, I need your highest and best offer today." Well, since I'm the only person on this damn thing, and I knew that because I got a friend in her office, right? She says, well, I says, all right. So I dropped my purchase price all the way down to $72,000. And she said to me, the next words out of her mouth are, if I present this offer and it's approved, how soon can you close? I almost said to her, what time is it? You know, so, but it was on a Monday. And I remember we closed this on a Thursday or a Friday. It was just a few days later. So how did I do this? I brought in a private lender. This is an actual deal. Brought in a private lender for a big $75,000. The terms I gave the private lender was 8% for 5 years. And he was going to receive interest-only payments of $500 a month. Now, on this $25,000 in retail repairs, I only spent $8,800. All right. The house, you see the picture of the house. It's a brick house, and everybody in this area, they've all got the old natural brick, and every house is boring. I paint them like gray, and the house is in white print, and the people love it. So, but anyways, I spent just a hair under $8,800 updating this house. Some new.
Do you have like boots on the ground there in Alabama? People that
Yeah,
you
I go
can.
back and forth there. I like
Okay.
I like traveling, so. I've got a team on that team. I've got a few people over there that can handle basically anything that comes down the road. So works out well. So I spent about $8,800. My closing costs and holding costs came out to just under $3,600. I listed it with my agent, and she's like the mayor of the area down there. Everybody knows her. And I did a lease option deal on this, which I do on all my properties that I buy the first year, because it takes me out of short-term capital gains and moves me into long-term capital gains. It also gives me a chance to give the customer, my buyer, a road test. If this guy makes 3 payments and all of a sudden I got to start chasing after him, because, and this is not going to be a candidate I want to hold a mortgage with. All right. So on this particular deal, I just did a 1-year deal with him. I got $10,000 down. I sold the property on paper for $159,900. The broker got a flat $2,000 up front. and that's they get that now, and it closed. So it rather we put the person in. So where am I going? So our costs on this was $72,000 up front. I got $3,450 in closing costs and holdings, $2,000 to the broker up front, and I had put $8,800 here on updates and rehab. It was a little less than that. So my total, all in, is $86,250. That's my basis. So my incoming to my private lender, my incoming capital, I borrowed $75,000. I collected a $10,000 lease fee from my tenant buyer. So I'm only out of pocket $1,250 when this thing hit the streets, as they say. So when we inked it and they moved in, I had $1,250 out of my pocket. Actually, I was with the first month's rent, I was positive, but I didn't put that on there. So my lease deal was it's $1,325 a month in rent coming in. I have $68 a month going out in insurance, a big $67 in taxes, and I'm going out $500 a month to my private lender. Now, I haven't put a dime of my money into this thing other than $100 for the down payment on the contract. So my monthly cash flow is $689.83 for the next 12 months. And as sure as I'm breathing here right now, this guy is not going to go out and get a mortgage. It's not going to happen. So Steve's going to hold the mortgage. So here's what those numbers should look like. All right. Well, first off, if he happens to, I don't know, if he gets hit by a car and they settle a lawsuit or whatever, and he runs into some money, these are my real numbers. These sort of $72,000 is the purchase. The cost $12,250 and all my costs. I would have wound up paying a total of 6% front and back total, $95.94 to the broker. I've got private money, title fees, and attorney fees of $1,600, insurance and taxes. You see, so my new basis total after a sale is $97,000. All right, everybody got that? Okay, so now I'm going to sell this thing. All right, now assuming that I'm not financing it, this guy is going to the bank and he's bringing me a check. So I got a sale of $159.9. I got monthly cash flow over the term, the annual cash flow I picked up of $82.77, which brings me up to a gross capital of $168,000. My original cost you see up top, $97,076. So on this $75,000 house, I only made $71,000. Not too shabby, right? And that's on a cash out. This isn't a rehab. This isn't something that somebody dropped a Volkswagen through the roof and I got to rebuild the whole house. I don't buy stuff like that. So now here's how it's going to play out. I feel very strongly. All right. This is, I'm going to collect another $10,000 down from this fellow on probably month number 10. All right. And I'm going to finance, remember it was $159.9 or $159. So he had $10,000 down up front. He's going to give me another $10,000 down on the sale, which brings me down to $139 financed. I get 4%, 4 points up front. Not up front, but I financed the 4 points. So that's $55.60, which brings me a beginning loan balance of $144,560. At 9% interest over 30 years, that's $1,163 every month. So I'm going to escrow on top of this taxes and insurance, and he's still going to be way cheaper than rent. So if you go out 30 years with this thing, he's going to wind up paying me out $418,000. Let's say it only goes out 10 years and he refinances it, or he sells the house. All right. Over the 10 years, I'll collect $139,579 in payments, and his principal interest payoff is still $129. That ain't bad for 10 years. What do you think, guys? Huh? I would have owed going on when I do these on the 10th year, I start looking for a private lender that I can amortize out the balance of their loan with. But in the first 10 years I run this, it's just interest only, and I want the cash flow. So I know I probably lost a few people on here, but
Steve, so this works. I have a question. This works on the properties that are fully paid already, right?
no.
Okay, this works in any scenario. Okay.
Yeah, I'll show you another one on here that I'm working on. I just closed. I didn't put anybody in the house yet. I'm thinking about staying in this thing myself, truthfully. But it's not in Alabama. But if anybody got questions on this deal,
Yeah, the whole money out of your pocket was all private lending money.
everything.
Yeah.
Well, I did put $100 in there, but I just kind of like, that was beer money. I like, you got to celebrate once in a while. So
Do you put the house as a collateral if something goes south?
what do you mean?
Like if as an asset, let's say for the private lender, what do you guarantee? The house for the person, or?
Absolutely. I don't sign personally. He gets, if I don't pay, he gets the house. He steps right into my shoes and he marches down the street, and I tell him to pray that I don't pay him, go to church, say a novena every Sunday, because he just got $160,000 house for 75 grand.
Mm,
I'd love to buy assets for that, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
There you go.
okay.
Yeah, it's a great deal for him. It's a great deal for me. It's a great deal for the guy I sold the house to, or I will wind up selling this house to. This just happened. I bought the house in January, cleaned it all up, and I put the customer in March. So, but I already know it. I mean, he's already saving his next $10,000 for me to finance him, and he already knows I get 9% interest. They didn't even blink. Blink.
Steve, on
My
a
payment to him is going to be cheaper than rent. He's happy as a pig in shit. Yeah.
okay, so you got the market needs to be cheaper on rent. So New York and New Jersey don't work, right?
Sure it does. If you can find the deal, they're few and far between. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like doing these deals anywhere in the Northeast, because you see here in this state, this is in Alabama. If this deal explodes, this guy stops paying me. And I'm documented. I use outside servicers on all my mortgages. That's also a condition to shelter liability. I'm step back. All I want is the money. I don't want to be the guy. I don't want to be the bank teller. I don't want to be the collector. I just want to be I want to be the bank. So I use an outside servicer, and they document everything. They're also licensed. They're also insured and bonded. They also have errors and omissions insurance. So if something screws up down the road, I'm on the hook, but I got their finance behind me. So where we're going with this is, if this house in Alabama, which is a non-judicial state, if I have to foreclose this, we're looking at 45 days to 60 days. If we dot the I's, cross the T's, and the deed is back in my name, and damn, I got to collect another $10,000 down. Isn't that terrible? Maybe instead of selling it for 159, maybe I get 165 or 170 for it. Gonzalez, you can do this in Texas all day.
Well, I want to, yeah. I mean,
all day long, man. Look what Mitch is doing. Mitch showed me to do this.
Yeah, that's my goal. I do have some private money lender guys who are cattle ranchers out here. Well, I met two of them, and they're talking about for anything that I get here. But this one that I got is like 1,000 miles away from me, out in Kentucky. So I don't know if it would be. I don't know if that's too far for me to do a hold the note kind of thing for me on that.
I don't buy in my area. I buy down south. I buy in Florida. I buy in Alabama. I buy in the Carolinas and Georgia, right? And I raise a lot of my money in New York. Okay. My investors don't go to the house. They couldn't find it if they wanted to.
Okay. Well,
It's all about if you got a legitimate deal where you got documentation, you got you spread the numbers out, you be conservative with your stuff, and you present this as an investment, a safe investment, and say in the worst case scenario, look, there's 40% or 50% on top of what you're loaning against this property in equity. Pray I don't pay you. Pray.
Right.
Pray.
Yeah.
You're going to get the house. You got $100,000. Now, what am I going to do with this house? All you got to do is pick up the phone, call this attorney who put the paperwork together, and say, "Listen, I got a house here that was Steve Driscoll's, and I want to sell it. No problem. Just hang up the phone. All right. He'll go over to the local RIA, and there'll be a line of people standing on line that want to buy this house. You'll have to have an auction."
Yeah.
I did liquidations for years, man. It don't matter what it is. If it's an asset, it's an asset.
Yeah. If I just need to work on the private money game. That's really that's one of my things.
When you
Well,
get that done and you feel comfortable with that, you can make offers on anything.
Right.
Because now you see you're making lease option offers or option offers on with people, but what they really want is cash.
Okay.
I give them cash, but I kick them so hard in the behind they feel it for years. But that's the way it goes. You want that? I'll give it to you. I'll tell you what. Okay, you want $300,000 for your house? All right. Well, it's only worth $200,000 to me. But if I'll give you 300, I'll give you 310 if you give me the terms that I need. Otherwise,
Right.
we're going back to the 200. I'd much rather buy with terms than do anything with a private lender. And most of the terms I do is 0% interest. So I'll jack the price of the house up another $10,000, and I'll give them. But I'm just saying, I'm going to give you $1,400 a month until it's paid in full, or $1,400 a month for the next 10 years, and then we're going to balloon out the balance. If you borrow $300,000 from somebody, and you're making mortgage payments on the house of $1,500 a month at 0% interest, what do you owe in 15 years? What do you owe in 10 years? Not much.
Yeah.
Not much, right? So he's the one that's being the bank. So if you pay the guy an extra $20,000 or $30,000 in interest, you know how much money you're saving? You know how much money you're saving just not having to go to the bank and having this ready financing in your pocket? It's huge, huge.
Hey,
All right,
Steve,
anybody?
how did you transition from the lease option to the owner finance? Did you
I didn't
already?
transition. I still do lease options.
No, but you put it for a year and then you did it. You became the bank.
Well, they come in the door. My customer, I tell them straight out, here's my program.
Oh, okay.
Here's my program. I lease option houses for the first year. After the first year, if you'd like to buy the house and you do everything you're supposed to do, I'm going to sit down and underwrite the mortgage. I'm going to sit down and underwrite the deal. And if you don't have any life-changing events, then I'll hold the mortgage for you.
Do you give them the option to go to a bank, or you just you are the bank and that's it?
Them an option. If they're going to buy something, you can't stop them from going to a bank. I'd rather they go to a bank, give me all this cash, and I'll go buy another one. I'll go buy two. I'll go buy three.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is your terms would be a lot better than the banks, right? Your interest rates.
Oh, no. My terms are a lot higher.
Oh, okay.
They're easier for my buyer to get approved, but I charge more money. If I'm getting 9% interest on that deal that I just showed you here, I think this was 9%. The banks aren't going to. The bank for the bank to charge 9%, the guy would have to be, a murderer or something like that, and they don't want that deal anyway. How are they going to lay that off to the Fed? So they don't want that. So,
wow.
Yep. Any other questions on this particular deal? I got another one to show you.
I think Corey's got a lease option he needs to have analyzed too, Steve.
Why don't we do that now? Go ahead, Corey. Let me shut this down.
Okay.
Our other here. Hang on, chat. Oh, I don't want to leave. I have no idea how to close this damn thing. Help. New share. No, we don't want to share. Okay, we're back.
All right. How you doing, Steve?
All right, man. What do you got?
Okay, I actually got two different situations. The first one, they're both probably pretty simple to you. The first one is it's a house. I think it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. The dude is asking for 210. I sent him off a letter of intent today and told him, because he didn't want a cash offer. Well, I mean, I'm sure he did, but he was agreeing to the lease option situation. So I said, yeah, I pay you the 210. And I was needing a little help with figuring out the numbers as far as like, if I pay him 210, do I go by like the monthly rent that say Zillow is suggesting, or how I figure out
What does he want?
Well, he wants the 210. I told him I'll do it with terms 24 months. Mark suggested that I offer him a couple of months down as down payment. And but I'm kind of lost on how you figure out.
All right. First off, when I go into a lease option deal, I ask for as long a term as I can get. If this guy wants to give me 20 years, I'll take 20 years. I don't care.
Okay.
As long as you can always pay it off or turn it around or whatever. All right.
Okay.
So you're not going to get 20 years, but I mean, if you want to get 5 years, don't nail yourself. If you put somebody into this house and it's a 2-year deal, and all of a sudden he's in the bottom of the 9th inning on the second term, the second year, and it ain't happening, this whole deal's going up in smoke. You want to have a buffer. You want to have that extra year at least. So I'd always go in asking for at least 3 years. All right. That's the first thing. Second thing is, if you're going to send somebody a letter of intent, it's got to state in there what you want to, what your offer is. What are you offering? So I wouldn't offer anybody money up front if it's the first time that we're having a chat, as far as down payment or anything like that. I'd let them come to me and tell me if if they don't like the deal, and I would ask them, well, Mr. Owner, what would you be comfortable a month on this? Was this a rental house?
Yes, he has a tenant inside the home right now.
So what's he collecting on rent?
I think it's around like 1,100.
Okay, so $1,100. What are the taxes on the property? Forget it. Don't look. Say it's $1,000 a year. Is that right? About too much?
2,000. It looked like around 2,000, 2,200.
So it's 2,000. Say $4,000 a year then for taxes and insurance, right? 1220. Yeah. So you got $350 a month for taxes and insurance. If he's got $1,100 coming in, he's already got $350 going out for taxes and insurance, right? Okay, so what are we down to now in net money?
Was that 850? 850 is so 1150 minus 350. Is that what it was? Or
he's at about $1,050, $1,100. So let's just say it's 11 to keep the numbers, and we got 350 coming off. So we're
750.
Good. What
750?
Now your number? You got to make a profit on this thing,
right?
All right. So let's just say let's say your net's $800 to keep it simple after you pay the taxes and insurance, and you're not going to hire a management company to come in. How much money you want to make a month?
With me personally,
and you want to assign this, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I was going to sign or he's going to stay in it. We didn't get that far yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I just want to assign it. I want to assign it to either a tenant buyer or another wholesaler. I mean, not another wholesaler, but a buyer.
All right. So then, if it's marketable rent at $1,100, and his purchase price is what he wants, $210. Is that what he wants? Okay. So, is that market value or is that low?
It's kind of high, man. To be honest with you, the average sales in that area is like 167.
Don't sound like a deal to me.
Wow.
Sound like you're really far apart.
Yeah.
So if the real and does the house need work?
I'm not sure. He has a tenant living in it right now, and it's actually like a family member that he says, he can stay in it for like, he wants him to be able to, he has 6 months left on his lease, in other words.
Well, doesn't sound like the guy's terribly motivated to do anything, number one.
Okay,
Number two, you got to know if the house needs work.
right.
Number three, you got to know what the damn house is worth. You got to know what the costs are going out per month, what you're going negative on.
Mhm.
And then you got to find out what this guy's willing to take. That's where you make him an offer and take out your time, and it doesn't sound like it's going to be a monthly payment thing. You're not going to stay in this and sandwich it. So you're looking more or less at just buying the property and flipping it,
Right.
basically speaking, optioning it and flipping it. So you got to have some kind of, an edge on that. If it's only worth in the 160s, he's at 210. He's got nothing at all to lose. He's $50,000 over market.
Right.
So, I mean, he's got to be like in the 135s to 145s to 150 maybe so you can make some money on it.
Well,
Yeah.
at least if it's worth would you say 165 today, 160?
Yeah, 167. Mhm.
Yeah, then I mean, at least you would have to be able to capture. I'm curious as to how much it's going to appreciate. What does Zillow or PropStream say it would appreciate per annual over the next 2 years? If you said it was a 2-year term, not probably the difference between 167 and 205 or 210 or whatever it was. You see where I'm coming from? So where even at that, the tenant buyer would have a hard time buying. If the tenant buyer, if you were to find one that agreed to the deal, went in there, moved in, put a down payment in, everything, then they go to the lender. The lender sends an appraiser out. It's not going to appraise for what they got to get out in order. You know what I mean? It's because
Rob
they,
this guy.
yeah. So, I think the worst case scenario, Steve, and tell me what you think, is if you calculated what 2 years of appreciation would be, and you added that on to the 167 that it is today, then what you could do maybe is you could maybe contract it for that amount. And then you could maybe have somebody pay you a non-refundable option fee that doesn't reduce the purchase price. Okay, but this is so skinny. It's just like the guy he's robbing every penny out of the deal and then some.
Right.
Yeah.
Send them a letter stating what you're willing to do and follow up with it in a month or so.
Okay.
I'm willing to do this. I mean, I call him after I send the letter, but after he screws you, finishes yelling on the phone, I'd say, all right, sir, if it's all right with you, we stay friends, no big deal. But, it's all right if I give you a call in a month or so. That's all. I don't know. What else would you do, Justin? I mean, if he's $50,000 out of the mark, I mean, hello.
Yeah, I would call him back and say, hey, if you feel like he's motivated at all, or if he's serious with you, or if he's just screwing with you, okay? Because some of these homeowners will just mess with you like that. And they'll be like, oh, sure, I'll do that. Yep. No, I just need 50% down. Okay. Like they're just screwing with you, man. They're not saying yes. And one guy, I said, hey, 50% down. I was like, okay, well, that sounds like we might be able to do that. So if I get an agreement put together with 50% down and I send that over to you, does that mean we have a deal? Oh no, man, I didn't expect you to say yes. So he was just screwing with me. If it's that kind of guy, just dump him for forever and always. But if it's something that you think that the guy is motivated, I would call him back and say, hey, listen, man, I've been doing some research on this place and I can't figure out how you came up with the 205. Can you explain that to me? I'm just confused here.
Help me here.
You've got some comparables, that you've pulled up that you're armed with, and you might be able to say, well, hey, listen, man, I'm more than happy to help you do this deal. I just want to make sure that I'm not, getting in too deep and where it can't be successful. So are these numbers something that we should talk about doing, or is this over? You tell me what happens next, Mr. Homeowner. Okay. you have, so basically, in a sense, you've educated the guy a little, okay, or you've attempted to.
All right.
All right. Sometimes that does work. Okay.
Okay.
You know, I mean, I've had guys say things to me like, and you don't catch yourself doing it, but you do it sometimes on the phone if you're calling a lot. You'll make a mistake on a call and you'll say something like, "Oh yeah, hey, if I gave you full price, if I gave you whatever you're asking for the house, and you let me rent it first for a little while, is that something we could talk about?" Oh yeah, well hell, I could just pick a number. Shit, man, I want to get 205 for that deal. Wouldn't that be cool if I this
Well,
this
that's
crazy
basically
motherfucker?
what I did, man. He
Yeah,
was just, I just said, hey, if I pay you full price, you know, do the
yeah.
terms, and he was with that. So the 210 is just what he's asking for on Zillow. It hasn't
Oh,
been.
so he's literally asking for 210 on
Yeah, that's
Zillow.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
golly,
yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
just call him with, get some comps, call him and see if you can talk some sense into him a little bit with love.
Right.
If not, I would not spend more than about 5 more minutes with this guy
Okay.
before I either threw it in the trash or we were talking about doing a deal. One of the two.
Okay.
We
Okay.
spent more money on it, right? More time and money on it just now.
You're right.
You got
Okay, I
another
do.
deal? You got a second deal?
Yeah, I do got one other. It's just kind of like a quick question. Maybe you
All
guys
right.
can help me out. This guy, I've talked to him a couple of times. He seems like he's really motivated on this house to like sell it because he's going out of town for a new job, but he has a dilemma. He's trying to buy another house, but he's trying to get his name off of this mortgage. That's the only way he can buy the other house. He's really just asking for what he owes, like 62,000. So I really
What's
don't
it
know.
worth?
I think it's worth that much too.
That's not a deal in either.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So I
To
I
do a deal
haven't,
subject to and take over his note, that's one thing. If you can't, and he wants his name off the note,
yeah, that's his deal. I couldn't do anything for him.
So he wouldn't be interested in a lease option at all.
That's what he says. He's not. He
now
wants
here's what he could
because he
do.
wants to get his name off the mortgage.
Here's what you could do.
Okay.
This is outside the box.
Okay.
If he sells you the house on an
Mhm.
agreement for deed, his name is still on the
Agreement
deed.
for deed.
Follow me. His name is still on the deed. All right.
Okay.
And his mortgage payments are equal to the payments that you're going to make on that house. All right. About, I don't know what the numbers are. You have to talk to a mortgage broker, right? And find out what they'll allow on an installment sale. Because now he can show he's sold the house. It's not a lease. He
Mhm.
sold the house in installments and it's covering it dollar for dollar. So sometimes, especially on a home that's in the $60,000 range, you might be able to get away with that. Now you go ahead and you take that deal and you wrap it or you just offer it for sale and you just assign that deal with the financing in place. You get $10,000, $15,000 down and you move it out. Next.
Okay. Okay.
That's a little far stretch for you if you haven't done
Yeah.
anything like that before.
Yeah, I have it. Okay. I
But you
think
find out with this guy, find out
okay.
if he'd be willing to do something like that, because a lot of times a banker, a mortgage broker will look at if he can show the property was sold and he can show it on a contract for deed that it was sold. Now he's not gonna, he's that's the right way to do it. All right. That's the right way to do it. Find out if he shows up on a contract for deed and he shows that dollars in, dollars out equals mortgage payment, and especially if he's already made 3 or 4 payments on this thing, the loan is aged already, and they can show that he's making his payments on time, you should be in a pretty good spot to get another loan. I don't know if it's going to be for $300,000 or $400,000, but
Yeah.
60, 80, $100,000 loan shouldn't be that big a deal. Anybody else got experience like that with these? 'Cause I've done those. I haven't done a
Crickets.
lot of them, but I've done about a half a dozen of them, and they worked out just like that.
So that's what's that called? That's not a subject to. I know you called it an installment sale, and that's what it is. But is there another name
contract
for
for
it?
deed. It's a contract for deed.
Okay, or sometimes called something else, maybe
It's
even,
an
but
installment
contract for deed.
sale. Well, it's considered an installment sale once you put the wheels to the motion. But this guy's name is going to stay on the deed, so he's protected.
Yeah.
This guy's name is going to stay on the mortgage.
So in a contract for deed, the deed changes hands after the whole contract's been fulfilled, everything's been paid,
Bingo.
everything. Okay.
Bingo.
Yeah, that was his dilemma. He didn't want to stay on the mortgage at
Well,
all.
he can show his bank that he see the bank. If he says, well, if they go and they pull his credit or whatever, and he tells them, well, listen, I've got a $60,000 balance on this house, and it's in XYZ, which is 100 miles away, and now I'm trying to buy another house here. The first words out of the banker's mouth is, "What are you doing with this house?" Well, I don't know. I'm trying to sell it. Oh, I rented it. Oh, I sold it on a contract for deed, and I've got documentation here that shows dollar for dollar that it's a break even. It's really not. It's not even a thought. Some mortgage brokers can get that deal done.
Okay.
Your regular, maybe small community banks, your big major banks probably don't want to touch it.
Okay.
Don't know.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Steve.
No problem, bro. Anybody else got a question tonight?
Yes, I got a question. You spoke of private lenders. I know there's different types of private lenders, but how can you, is there a way to use transactional funding during these type of deals or no?
Slow down. There's only one type of private lender in my book.
Oh, okay.
That's a private individual that wants to loan money to you against a project. Period.
Okay.
A transactional funder, you got a deal that's all done, and you got to do a double close, and you're going to bring a transactional funder in for his money for a day, and it's just you're just moving money around. So sometimes you don't need a transactional funder if you got a good title company and they're willing to schedule things the way they should schedule. You don't need a transactional funder. I've never used one, but and I've done double closings. I've never used one. So, but there are times when you will, I would imagine. So, but a transactional funder is not a private lender. You just pay him a small percentage and they make their money available. And you can probably find them just through the title company you're going to use or through your attorney. Or they're all over the internet, and it's a percentage then. But you got to make sure your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed. You're going to closing. That's it. You're done. That's the way that works.
Now, also, I'm of course, today's my first day, but I'm trying to get to this creative finance. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. As far as the creative financing part, as far as learning lease options and stuff, where can I go in the course to learn how to, implement those numbers? I know every situation is different and there's going to be different types of numbers. But
hey, Robert,
how do you get to the 8% and the 6%?
Forget all that. This what we're talking about here is a little more on the advanced side for some guys that are experienced. If you want to start, look at wholesaling or look at lease options. Justin's got the course online. Go through it piece by piece. That's what you need to spend your time on right now.
Yeah.
And getting on the telephone, listening to these people, listening to these coaches on the phone, listening to Victor, listening to Mark. If you can have all the theory in the world, but if you can't pick up that telephone and talk to people and have a conversation, you're never going to get to first base.
Robert,
it's not going to happen.
Tomorrow in the Q&A at noon Central, that's all we're going to do is talk about lease options, the strategy, the basics, the fundamentals of it, what you're looking for, how you figure up the numbers and all that on the lease option stuff. But if you want to know the seller finance stuff, like interest rates and structuring, all the stuff that he was talking about tonight, that's really where we do that, is on the Monday night stuff.
That's down the road for you, man.
Yeah.
Keep life simple right now. Get a couple of deals under your belt. Don't be looking to do this fancy shit yet.
All right.
No, really. There's so many different things you can do with real estate. There's so many different things you can do in just general transactions that'll blow your mind once you understand. You can figure out how money flows and where you can get it when you need it. It's incredible. It really is.
Mhm.
All right,
Well,
guys.
no, I like what y'all got going on. That's why I joined. I seen, a YouTube video, I think it was, where y'all were doing the cold calling. And that's where I got on a couple cold calls before. I was doing them like month to month. I only had one bad experience, but all the other ones were pretty good. Just haven't closed any deals, but I just seen the community that y'all have. So that's why I went ahead and joined.
There's a
So,
lot of jerks that answer phones.
oh yeah.
The way
Coming
it
from,
goes.
coming from the military and into a warehouse, and then, going onto a phone is a whole different thing.
Served in the military?
Yeah.
Yes.
What'd you do?
I was in the Army. I was a 19 Delta Scout, but I didn't do that. I was in Kuwait and Bosnia. So
Oh,
they
thank you
just
for
threw
your
me
service.
everywhere. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good. We'll help you out, man. Whatever we can do to help you.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, Steve.
Hey,
Hi there. Well, first of all, just to the last gentleman, thank you for your service. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
I have been coming across a number of houses, or people trying to put together deals where the tenants are in situ. What's your opinion about buying houses with tenants in there, and how do you make that work for you, numbers wise?
you said the tenants are what? They're in.
They're they're basically tenanted houses. So do you normally buy houses with tenants?
Are they multifamily or just single family houses?
Single family houses.
Well, if you're going to solve somebody's problem, you got to get paid for it. If it's a problem, if you're buying a house and the people are in there and they're tenants and they've got a lease and everything's going the way it's supposed to go, you're buying it subject to their lease. If you're buying a house and they're not paying for whatever reason and they're in default.
But then how do you do that creatively? How do you do that to keep it in your portfolio?
Well, how are you buying it? The people that are that are renting now, is it a performing lease or is it not a performing lease?
No, they're performing leases.
Well, you're gonna contract on a property and it's gonna be subject to the lease that's on the premises now. So get a copy of the lease, understand it, know what it's all about, and you're gonna buy that property on XYZ Main Street, and it's gonna have Mr. and Mrs. Jones that are tenants, and they're going to expire, and whatever the terms are on the lease, and you're buying it subject. It's like if you buy a property subject to existing financing, you're buying this property subject to having a.
Oh yeah, what I'm saying is, but then what in terms of the disposition, that's fine if you're going to dispose of it.
No,
as a
you keep it. You can keep it. You can sell it with the tenants in it. You can sell it with the tenants gone. If it's a performing rental. If it's not performing, that's a whole nother ballgame. Performing like they're paying.
No, but I'm not getting how you would. I understand the acquisition part, but I'm not understanding how you would dispose of it if it's not just a pure wholesale type of transaction.
You can wholesale it the same way you do a regular house. It's just subject to the existing.
Yeah, but how would you keep it though? The wholesale fine, but how would you keep it in? Like, what sort of creative finance deal could you put together?
Whoa, where we going
to make that work?
Where we going with this? Wait a minute. All right, one thing at a time. We have a house. It's a single family house. You want to buy it?
Well, there are a few of them that have come across my desk that have taken them.
Right.
So, and the numbers look okay, but the way that I've been doing and taught to do, any kind of creative deal is that, the 3 payment way. So get a vacant property, whether do seller financing or lease purchase. And in terms of disposition, I'm going to find a tenant buyer that's going to pay me a down payment. I'm going to get the monthly income. And then at the end of it, I'm going to get the money at the end, lump sum at the end. So if I'm buying a property that has tenants in it already, I'm just thinking to myself, well, where's the cash flow potential for me as the buyer?
Your cash flow is the difference. Your cash flow is what the tenant is paying. What the tenant is paying minus whatever your underlying debt's going to be on the property.
Yeah, but that's if the seller is willing to sell it subject to, well, I guess that's what you're saying, subject to the lease payments. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
He might have to sell it that way.
Right, okay.
If he's got a performing lease, the people that are in the property have a right to that property. He can't just say, well, the leases I use down in Florida, they're leases that are prepared under this real estate department with the state of Florida. They have a 45-day out, I think, on it. If the property goes up for sale, we have a 45-day option as the owner of the property to tell them, look, time to move, you got to go.
Okay, but then if it's subject to the performing lease payments, so let's just say the lease payments are $1,000 per month, whatever. How would I mean?
You want me to help you structure a purchase?
Yeah, I mean that would be good with a tenant that's in place, because I haven't done that before.
Okay, it's a single family home. I know you were looking at condos. It's not a condo, right?
No. I've had probably about 5 of these come across my desk, like that have tenants in them, and I'm like, well, no, I'm not. I don't want any house that's tenants in already.
The landlords
have to structure it.
The landlords want out, right? They want to sell.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at the underlying debt. Are they willing to take back terms?
At least 2 of them were, yeah.
Let's talk about them right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're going to look at what their overall cash flow is.
Right.
What their leases state. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. You want to get in the house and look and see how much work the property is going to need. Don't take anybody's word for it. You got to look. You got to have the house checked out. All right. You got to look and see what the costs for your insurance are going to be, what the taxes are on the property. It's simple on a single family house to me versus doing something multi. I haven't had any luck with that. But simple is simple. All right. And once you have those numbers, you know what your defined net number would be per month. Then you got to look at the debt side, what you're willing to take out every month and pay down the debt that you would originate to purchase the property. So if the property is only throwing off $1,000 a month in gross income, and after you pay the taxes, insurance, and hopefully there's no HOAs there or whatever the case may be, and maybe you're going to pay a management company, you're down to $600. And you haven't talked about reserves or anything like that. Maybe you're down to $500. So you got $500 without even talking about putting money in your pocket, $500 left over that you've got to sit down and say, well, what's this guy? How much can I put towards this? And he knows that number. If this house is a rental,
but then it just turns into just a regular me becoming a landlady, doesn't it? Really?
Correct.
Yeah, and that's and I don't want to do that.
So then forget about that side of it. Look and see. Forget about that side of it. Then you just market the house as an entity that produces income. Now listen, this is the way you would do it. All right. The property it rents it's on XYZ. It's 123 Main Street and XYZ, right? So you would get this property under an option, and you'd say that the option to purchase is going to be an X amount of dollars. Look and see what you can get that property valued out at. If it's worth that $100,000, and if it's on a low side of 100, you can get it for 125 or something like that. If you're just talking about doing an option and blowing it out, the people that you're going to market this to are going to be investors and other landlords, and they're looking for properties right now. And if you got listen to this, if you got someone in a property where the rent is being paid on time, got a track record, all right, where with canceled checks or it's going through a management company that can put together a report, that's worth money.
Mm,
They don't have to go and do it. And if they just want a one package pony, the house is in good shape. All I've got to do is write a check, and I'm going to get this amount of money per month. That's fine. You can even ask you can set them up with a management company that'll handle everything. And now you're going to get more money for this deal because you're doing that.
yeah.
You're stepping out of the box of being of just moving property now. Now you're moving landlord property. You know, a lot of people don't look to do that. You know, and that's another asset right now, an asset class that investors are looking for, especially now. They're looking for a place to bury money. Who knows what's going to be in a few, 6 months, a year from now, and then everybody wants to hold on to assets. So you get somebody, it doesn't have to be in the state. It doesn't have to be in the country, for crying out loud. There's a lot of international money coming over here, and they want to scoop up rental properties. So if you've got a rental property that has a track record of solid income and it's netting money, and if you have track record of inspections, the property is in good condition and all that, you've got more than just a house there to sell. You got a business. That's a business.
Yeah. So this one guy's actually got 3 properties, 3 rentals. So that's an idea. Yeah, I'll mold that over, Steve. Thank you very much.
Listen, it can always just put it under an option. If it don't work, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Yeah,
you're going to need experience, and the first 2 or 3 might not be a go for you, but you're going to get experience with it.
Right. Yeah.
You know.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
All righty. Take care, Dr. Michelle. Well, we had another deal we were going to do. I think Alan, you wanted us to look at Alan.
Alan Bryan. What's up?
What do you got, Alan?
Alan, you're up.
Yo, Steve.
What's
good
up,
evening.
babe?
Real quick. I don't know if this is worth resurrecting, but I had to throw this in the trash. 113K purchase, 10K down, 850 a month, 5% interest until fully paid. The current tenant is a family friend that is only paying $650 on a 1-year lease, and they want me to do $850 a month. So there's a $200 negative cash flow, and I wanted to know, how do you handle that negative 200 for that 1 year?
Can you get the guy out of the property? Cash for keys or something like that? Move him out?
No, it has to be subject to, and they want him to stay for that 1 year minimum.
All right. So give me the numbers again. How much is the house?
113K, 10K down, 850 a month, 5% interest until fully paid.
113 is the value.
Yep.
And the purchase price. They want $10,000 down.
Yep.
Yep. And what else? Go ahead.
5%, 850 a month, with 5% interest until fully paid.
Okay, so $850 a month. So why don't you give them? So this, did you make them an offer?
That was the offer, but the sticking point was that they wanted that negative. I mean, they wanted me to swallow the negative 200 because of that family friend renter for 1 year, and I said, no, I can't do that.
Okay, so why don't you swallow it for the first year and then have the $10,000? Give them $5,000 in 12 months and $5,000 24 months.
That's one option. Thank you.
It's one way about it. I mean, you're willing to get in there and get a little dirty, but don't kill me. So split what they want in down payment, and you know something. At the 800, I would say the 850 a month. I'd say for the first 5 years is 1% interest or 0% interest, and then in 3 years I give them 3% interest. And then in 5 years, I give them 4% interest. Have it go escalating, because the faster you can pay down at 0, you're going to have a bigger piece of collateral inside this property. They might not have a problem with that, or just tell them, listen, I'll do the deal with you. It all looks good, but I want 0% interest for the first 5 years.
Cool. Thank you for the suggestions.
Yeah.
I got another one. 150 purchase. Guy wants 75K mortgage balance paid off at closing, and then the other 75K paid off 1 year later. How would you go about this? And is this even a deal?
So how much is the property worth?
150. He got it appraised because he took money out of it from the bank.
Oh, I don't care about that. So you think it's worth the 150?
Suppose.
So what are you gonna do with this thing?
Assign it.
Assign it. $75,000 he wants paid off at the time of closing, and $75,000 he's gonna give you 0% and total due in 12 months.
Yes.
Well, you might be able to sign that if it's in a good area and it's a nice house and all that. I don't know.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Might be able to. I jerk around with the numbers a little bit. You know, if he's got to get the 150 and he's got to get that, and he wants the he says he owes 75,000 on the mortgage. So you're not. That's it. You see, you can't change anything around with the 75 unless you take it subject to, or you do a contract for deed with the guy and you start paying him out on it. Does he just want his name off this? What's his deal? Or does he even know?
He doesn't want the payments, and the other 75 he owes to his grandfather, but then there isn't specific terms, so his grandfather just wants the lump sum whenever.
His grandfather wants the lump sum. Ooh. Okay. So why don't you agree to do this? Why don't you agree to give him the whole $150,000, the $75,000 to the mortgage company? Now listen, you're going to break these terms down because this is what you're going to assign. Okay, and you can make the deal sweet to the guy you're going to assign it to. You could say $150,000 purchase. I'm gonna enter a contract for deed with you. Possibly, this is one way to go. Where I'm going to pay you $25,000, $25,000 for the next 3 years. All right. So, and now $25,000 for the next 3 years, and then I'm going to give you 0% interest on the 75,000 and let it balloon in 60 months. Or you can say, I'll give you $10,000. I'll give you $10,000 a year in a balloon payment on, you know, pick a month, and say we'll give you 10,000 or give him 15,000, you know, something like that. But don't give him the whole 75 grand. Be creative, man. Go back to the well a few times, because he's going to see that you want to buy it, and he's going to if he feels that you're really trying to solve his problem, because the guy's got a problem. He's got to get his father paid.
Yep.
All right. You know how old the father is?
I have no idea, but I'll try to ask.
Well, I'm only asking because if he's really elderly, if he's 80, 85 years old, you know, they're going to want this money a lot quicker than somebody that's, you know, pushing 100, you know, so.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Or vice versa, you know, so. See what you can do to spread it out a little bit. Or just take the whole deal. If it's in a neighborhood where the properties are worth 150 grand plus and the market's hot, enter a contract, whatever the hell he wants, go assign it for 155,000 and move on to the next one.
Got it. Thanks for the option, Steve.
All right, man. Keep smiling.
Boom.
Can I just ask a question?
She's back.
I know. Sorry. It was just I think I mentioned something last week to Justin. 18 properties, like a portfolio of 18 properties, came across my desk, and apparently what happened was an investor scooped up all of these properties from this company in New York, and then the guy went belly up, went into bankruptcy, and then the company in New York have been left with these 18 properties. So their problem is that if they're in a completely different state, they don't, you know, they've had these managers trying to work on the properties, and it's just been a real mess. So they're trying to get rid of this portfolio of 18 houses.
Who are you doing business with? A broker?
No, the
You do
actual,
business directly with directly with the bank.
no, directly with the company in New
Okay.
York.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
And so I was just thinking to myself, you know, how, you know, is it possible? Is it worth it? How could one work this out creatively?
If you're willing to solve their problem, they're willing to listen to what your offer is. Where are the
Well,
houses?
actually, they said, oh yeah, you know, they'll do something with seller financing, and then I said to her, okay, well, hey, tell me what that would be, what that would look like. And she came back today saying 10% down,
Yeah,
8% interest, which is just ridiculous. That's just not going to work.
but you want, if you're going to solve their problem, you got to get paid for it. Where are the houses?
Illinois.
They're in Illinois.
Mm.
Have you had anybody take a look at them or check them out?
She's going to get one of the managers to go in there. And I said, well, she was going to get them to take photographs. And I said, well, no, I'll do a Zoom session with the manager for each one of them, just at least to see what they're like initially. And then if need be, I'll get boots on the ground to go in each one.
BPOphoto.com. Somebody can check that. BPOphoto.com. If somebody could just go online and check that, they'll do they'll do a drive-by of any house anywhere in the US, and I think it's $40 or something, or $30, and they'll give you 3 pictures of the left, right, and center of the house, and down each side of each block, the left side and the right side, or the north and the south, whatever. I think it's BPO Photo. Something like that. And you might want to go into something like that and hire a company to just drive by and look at it. But a lot of times, this company that you're dealing with in New York, they might be, I don't know if you're dealing with the company that has, this is the guy, Velocity, that's them. I don't know if they actually own the properties. You can go, you know what you ought to do is you have addresses on the properties?
Yeah.
What if you use PropStream?
Yeah, I've got it.
Go on PropStream, see who's down as being the owner, and if it does list on the mortgage companies or whatever it is, these guys might have just bought the paper. In other words, the loan documents, and they own this stuff for 5, 10, 15 cents on a dollar.
Yeah, what's interesting is they want to do a contract for deed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Be careful. Be careful. I know a lot of the guys in New York. Just be careful. I mean, get more information. Bring it back here to the club. Let's talk about it. Don't send them any money. Don't sign anything. All right. Till you bring it back to the club. Now, there's a lot of guys out there that'll take on these big strings of paper, big strings of bad properties, and this is the stuff that everybody else is stuck with. And they just keep marketing it around the internet. And by the time it gets to you, it's already been to 7 or 8 other guys already, or more. So, they daisy chained it around. So that might be what you're looking at there. But who knows? I don't know. Without knowing who it is, don't tell me online, and don't tell me. But you take it up to the next step. Find out, do a little homework on those properties.
Yeah.
And find out who owns what. If the company went bankrupt, all right, this odds are if they're in Illinois, I don't know I don't do business in Illinois. I haven't, so I don't know what the laws are there. You might want to talk to somebody out there in a local REIA or somebody here in the club that knows Illinois, and see what the deal is as far as them getting clear title and what. I don't know. Because listen, I've looked at homes that were offered years ago on lists, and I chased all over states looking at this stuff. And I remember the one house I looked at, they said it was a dollhouse, and this house looked gorgeous. I pulled up and I'm like, this is unbelievable. Look at this house. New windows, new door. Look at this. Wow. New paint around the front of the house. I get out of the car, I walk around to the back. It was like something on a Hollywood soundstage. The whole back of the house was blown out. It was a meth lab, and they blew the whole thing out.
My gosh.
Somebody looked at this house on the list and bought it without going to look at it. And they paid all the money for it. All the money for it. So now, like they say, if you don't go out and do your homework, you get what you get. So, yeah, there's a lot of that stuff around. And, desperate people do desperate things. So just be careful. Just be careful. All right, Doctor? All right. All right. Once we got anything else going on, it's getting a little late, but we'll take any more questions you guys might have. Justin's going to nod off there soon.
What?
It's 10:37 here. Anybody else got something? Victor, wake up, man. Come on. We're counting on you there. You're on the West Coast. You got to bring it up. We're going to bring up the energy.
I got more phone calls to do.
There you go.
Is it too late for that?
There he is. There he is.
No, it all depends where you call, right?
Yeah. What is it over on the West Coast? Oh, it's only 7:30 over there. I could call.
7:30 over here. We're still accepting calls for another 20 minutes.
I'm still in business, y'all.
That's right. Call West. Go West, young man.
Wow. Wow. All right. Anybody else got anything else? Any more questions? Anything to chat about quick? Questions, deals? I got another deal I was going to show, but I guess we'll hold it up till next week.
Great job, Steve. Thanks for breaking
it
down for us, bro.
We're having fun.
Coach Steve.
Yeah. I'm not smarter than anybody else. I just listen. That's it. And, over the period of time, you pick up all this stuff, listening to every one of these gurus, nurus, whatever you want to call them. I listen to what it is they have to offer, and you always pick up a little bit of something from them. Sometimes they're completely full of shit, but there's one little thing you can pick up somewhere. So, and that's over the years, that's what I've done.
So you've been around a long time. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I've been not that long. In the last crash, I started buying houses in
the grand scheme of things.
In the grand, yeah. Let's
you got a little long in the tooth there.
That wasn't the crash in 29, was it?
Right.
Did you feel that?
Sorry,
shit. I'm only 64, man. I'm not that freaking old.
Looking good, baby. A lot of years left.
Keep smiling. Everybody else is good tonight. No other questions. We're going to sound off.
I loved it.
Great job, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you all. CD brought us some challenges here. Didn't hear too much from Ed tonight, but Dr. Michelle, as usual. Rick kicks in. Victor, Rob Ware. We got new guy at the wheel, man. Everybody got to give this guy a hand. New people. That's how we're going to grow.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to grow.
Rocking.
Keep it strong. Keep it going. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.
All right, guys.
Thanks for coming.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Steve. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Justin.